It might be inaccurate, it might be fiction going a little bit too far, but do you think it's actually dangerous and damaging for the monarchy?
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reasons the royal family might be concerned about The Crown Season 5.
Now, I feel compelled to remind Your Majesty that tolerance of the royal family is hanging by a thread as it is.
For this list, we'll be looking at plot points, themes, and behind-the-scenes tidbits that might have the British royals break into a cold sweat ahead of the newest season of the Netflix drama. Does The Crown influence your thoughts on the royal family? Tell us why in the comments. Number 10. Support for the royal family is currently at an all-time low.
It just doesn't represent my values. I don't think people should be born into immense wealth and privilege. And given constitutional powers, we should have an elected head of state.
The royal family hasn't had the best press in recent years, and polls in mid-late 2022 reported that public opinion was at an all-time low. Following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, some started pondering if now was the time for a change.
Remember that until recently, monarchies were the rule and republics the exception. But today, republics are the rule and monarchies very much the exception.
Given that they largely live behind closed doors, worldwide audiences turned to The Crown almost as if they were keeping up with the Kardashians. While many of us race to the internet to decipher the fact from the fiction, there's no denying we're slightly swayed by their more accessible fictional counterparts. So, understandably, they might be concerned that anything from character traits to dramatized plot points could cause their approval rating to plummet even more.
I have seen firsthand what it is like for a royal family to be overthrown because they're out of step with the people.
Number 9. The Queen and Prince Charles's tricky relationship. Seasons 3 and 4 have tackled the difficult mother-son relationship between the monarch and the heir to the throne.
Yes, I had a horrible idea we were going in this direction.
I have done my best. My very best, and I am suffering.
Seemingly, Season 5 will delve even deeper, with a scene where the then-prince blasts his parents' negligence and suggests they only got away with it because of their privileged positions. While we don't know if this is true or not, Jonathan Dimbleby, who wrote the King's authorized biography back in 1994, discussed the now King's emotionally distant parents and lonely childhood at length.
Am I listened to in this family? Am I seen for who and what I am? No. Do I have a voice?
Rather too much of a voice for my liking.
We imagine this subject could divide royal fans or compel them to draw parallels to the King's relationship with his sons. However, many might feel that this critique is too soon given the family's still very recent loss.
No one wants to hear it.
Are you talking about the country? My own family?
No one.
Number 8. Annus Horribilis.
1992 is not a year on which I shall look back with undiluted pleasure.
According to the trailer, Season 5 will address the Queen's infamous Annus Horribilis. This was the year 3 of her children's marriages broke down and a fire ravaged Windsor Castle. We hardly need to tell you that reliving your worst memories is no picnic. Now imagine someone taking the worst years of your life and dramatizing them on television.
It all sounds hideous.
Yes. I thought that's what you'd say.
The season couldn't have come at a worse time for the family. They continue to mourn the loss of 2 beloved figureheads while stumbling ahead with a new monarch on the throne. Meanwhile, households across the world are being reminded of some of their worst moments and reveling in the drama.
It feels it's all about to erupt.
Number 7. Reliving the Panorama interview.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
You're probably familiar with Princess Diana's controversial 1995 Panorama interview with Martin Bashir. Well, in recent years, a private investigation uncovered that the host used fake documents to secure this exclusive chat with the royal. In response, Prince William blasted the BBC for their negligence and expressed anger towards those who used the exploitative incident for commercial or financial gain.
It is my firm view that this Panorama programme holds no legitimacy and should never be aired again.
So, as you might imagine, he's not too happy with the Crown either. The show will address the infamous interview while apparently also examining Mr. Bashir's deceit. While it will be interesting to see how they frame it, we can sympathize with the prince. After all, who would want their family's lowest points rehashed so publicly?
I won't go quietly. I'll battle till the end.
Number 6. Prince Philip's alleged affair.
What's this?
Oh, Christine. Huh? She'll be there. Mandy will too.
Do you know, my neck's feeling better already.
Prince Philip's alleged infidelity is hinted at during the show's first 2 seasons. Seasons 3 and 4 made way for the next generation's romantic dramas, but season 5 is set to remind us of the Queen's husband's apparent wandering eye.
Why did you never do that for me?
Dance on your birthday?
Yes. Like Salome.
Because, if memory serves, you had your own ballerinas for that.
When their marriage hits a rough patch, Prince Philip begins an affair with Penelope Penny Natchbul, Countess Mountbatten of Burma. In reality, the Countess was a family friend, but her relationship with Prince Philip was likely just platonic. This plotline has not been well received by royal pundits who dismissed it as, quote, cruel rubbish and, quote, in exceedingly bad taste. They've also accused the showrunners of ignoring that their characters are based on actual people with real feelings.
I can look the other way.
Because I know you can look the other way. You've raised looking the other way into an art form.
Number 5. The royals like to be in control of their image. In a world bridged together by modern technology, the royals still strive to maintain their distance.
The people look to the monarchy for something bigger than themselves, an inspiration, a higher ideal. If you put it in their homes, allow them to watch it with their dinner on their laps.
According to author and journalist David Dimbleby, the lengths they'll go to protect their public image are quite astounding. For instance, following the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, broadcasters were forbidden from showing Prince George touching his nose or Mike Tyndall checking his watch. You know, typical human stuff. It also doesn't help that the Queen's passing drew in new audiences seeking to learn more about the late monarch.
Lower the drawbridge. Let people get to know you.
I don't wish to be known.
You're probably also aware that some have called for the episodes to begin with a disclaimer. Something tells us that the royal family won't be gathering around the TV with popcorn to watch the latest season.
This really is plumbing new depths of banality.
Number 4. Queen Consort Camilla's image.
This whole thing, my marriage, this situation, the whole charade is madness.
The infamous love triangle between Princess Diana, Prince Charles, and Camilla Parker Bowles will take center stage in the 5th season. Public perception of the Queen Consort has always been tainted due to her role as the other woman in King Charles's life.
If they knew the truth about our feelings for one another, they'd have their fairy tale.
No. To be the protagonist of a fairy tale, you must first be wronged. A victim. If we were to become public, we would make her.
Emerald Fennell did a fantastic job at creating a 3-dimensional character who had us seething during her lunch date with a newly engaged Diana, or pulled at our heartstrings as she accepted her lot in life. But since the royals choose to shroud themselves in mystery, many might turn to the fictional counterpart to form their opinion about the new Queen Consort. And based on what we know so far, we're not sure they're going to like what they see.
Always defeat me in the court of public opinion.
Number 3. Prince Charles tried to overthrow his mom.
We would need to secure Parliament, Whitehall, the Ministry of Defence, and the Cabinet Office.
Before you hurriedly search whether or not this actually happened, let us reassure you there is no evidence it did. In fact, John Major, who was Prime Minister at the time, is particularly unhappy with this fabrication.
John is a man of great rectitude, and he would not have been a party to what he would have regarded actually as a treasonous discussion.
It suggests that the heir to the throne approached him with a plot to force the Queen to abdicate. Until now, the Crown has taken historical events and sprinkled them with fictional interactions, and this, of course, is no different. However, it does feel like a major leap from what we've seen so far, and no doubt some might even believe it to be true. You can certainly understand why it angered the ex-Prime Minister, and it's not the best start for the King's reign either.
I think the problem is that this is such a successful series, and the quality of the production values are so high. It's easy for people to think sometimes they're watching a documentary.
Number 2. King Charles's reputation.
People were laughing at me. Laughing in my face at the end of a week in which half of Australia has also been booing me.
All eyes are on King Charles as he steps into his mother's mammoth legacy. The fact that this coincides with a rather turbulent season of The Crown is pretty unfortunate. Those who recall the 90s will be reminded of some unpleasant events, and by the sounds of it, the fictionalized elements won't do him any favors either.
They know that you are a spoilt, immature man, endlessly complaining, unnecessarily. Married to a spoilt, immature woman, endlessly complaining, unnecessarily. And we are all heartily sick of it.
The palace has worked hard at improving the king's image over the years, and now they're concerned that the crown could unravel it all. So, as you might imagine, the royal PR team is already trying to get ahead of the storm, denouncing the series and jumping in with preemptive damage control. What a time for a rebranding, eh?
And if one day you expect to be king,
I do.
then might I suggest you start to behave like one.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The House of Wales's breakdown.
So I would like to ask one fundamental question of you both. Does either of you no longer want this marriage to work?
The breakdown of Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage and subsequent divorce is extremely well documented, so there's likely little more to add. We expect that rather than shed new light, this storyline will remind us of how messy the whole ordeal was. The trailer alone looks pretty explosive.
She opens her mouth and hand grenades come out. She wants to tear down the temple.
Let's go for it.
What the hell is she doing?
During their separation, both parties tried to one-up each other in public opinion. You can even expect to see that iconic revenge dress. Insiders are reportedly most concerned about the backlash the new king and his wife might endure, and criticize the show for exploiting the institution. What do you think? Are they right to be on the verge of a royal meltdown? Or is the whole thing overblown?
I refuse to be blamed any longer for this grotesque misalliance! I wash my hands of it!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Ms. Mojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.